No offseason programs mean no opportunity for players who want new contracts to take a stand. With Dak Prescott franchise tagged by the Cowboys, one of the big pressure points was whether or not he would show up for the offseason program. Unsigned, no obligation to be there. Christian McCaffrey entering the fourth year of his rookie contract. Growing buzz, he wants his second deal sooner rather than later, and I think a fight is looming between McCaffrey and the Carolina Panthers. With no offseason program, there's nothing for McCaffrey to stay away from, Chris. This takes off the table some juicy stuff we'd have been talking about this month and some interesting things that may have been happening in the NFL. I don't know how it ultimately plays out. At some point, they're going to get players together, and players who want to take a stand can take a stand then. But for Dak Prescott specifically, the deadline is July 15. That's the real deadline. That's when the window closes on doing a multi-year contract for anyone with the franchise tag. So whether or not he stays away from the offseason program, there's going to be one most likely. For him and the Cowboys, July 15 is when they get a long-term deal done or they don't. For McCaffrey, it's a little bit different because he's under contract. That fight is going to continue to simmer, and we'll see it possibly come to a head when it's time to show up for training camp.
Well, yeah. All right. So first, the Dak Prescott one. When you look at this, right, at take it as face value, you go, "Oh, the players are going to lose leverage here." But I'm not so sure about that when you talk about Dak Prescott in that part of the conversation. Let's put it this way. All right, no long-term deals done. I mean, nothing gets done. Dak's unhappy. It's a shortened training camp. Oh, we're not going to start till late August, whatever it may be. I just think, all right, so you're right. There's no leverage. They lost their leverage. I don't know what else to say there. I was going to go down a wormhole, and I'm wrong as I'm sitting here thinking about it.
Here's where I thought you were going to go, though. Let's work through this together.
Yeah, go ahead.
To the extent that they do have some sort of a virtual offseason program that entails Dak Prescott meeting with Mike McCarthy through his computer, through his iPad, through his Surface. We want to make sure we mention all brands.
Right.
If Dak says, "Sorry, Mike, I'm not going to be there,"
that's where I wanted to go. Yes.
It's not as public as not showing up. So then will the Cowboys leak to somebody? Dak is giving Mike McCarthy the virtual middle finger by not being involved. My guess is the Cowboys probably will go there and will leak that. So it changes the fight a little bit, because this isn't an issue of failing to show up at the facility. This is an issue of failing to show up at the computer and not cooperating. And you know what? In a roundabout way,
yes.
It
makes it harder
Dak look
because
worse.
Right. Okay. Why?
Don't you think? Well, because let's play it out. These are very strange times with a high degree of stress on everyone, and this notion that we're all going to come together and find solutions, and teams are coming together and finding solutions, finding simulations, finding replacements for the work that they would be doing at the facility. And instead of doing what he has to do to help his team get ready for the season, Dak Prescott, the leader of the team, is refusing to participate, is refusing to set aside his personal contractual demands and participate in these efforts to salvage something out of an offseason that's been sent off the rails by the pandemic. I just think that it's a tougher PR sell for him to not participate in this on-the-fly effort to do something to get everyone on the same page, versus him making that strategic stand, that very public showing of, I'm not going to be there for the offseason program until I get my contract. Now, look, it doesn't mean it's impossible, but it's going to be a tougher sell from a PR standpoint to stay away from these at-home sessions.
Agreed. And I'm glad I worked with you, because you got my brain straight there, is what I was trying to say. You're exactly right. But still, business is business. And it's not Dak Prescott, even though times are weird and it might seem a hair insensitive or whatever for the times. It doesn't matter. It's still the world of football and the NFL business. And Dak Prescott still has to play that game, whether it's Zoom or FaceTime or showing up in person at OTAs. He's got to do what's best for him. And my point was that, let's say the season gets pushed back, right? Let's say all of a sudden they go, all right, we're probably going to have a shortened season. And really, hey, all NFL teams, we're going to have a shortened training camp. We're going to do it all in like 3 or 4 weeks. Everybody's going to get 2 preseason games, and we're just going to start the season and get going. If you're Dak Prescott and you've done nothing as far as the whole offseason, and now you're going to have a really short training camp, To me, that puts more pressure on the Dallas Cowboys to go, oh, man, our quarterback, he has no clue some of the new stuff we're doing. He's really behind the eight ball here. And now as a team, we're really behind the eight ball. And that puts more pressure on the Jones family to go, man, I don't know how confident I feel about our team, starting the season hitting on all cylinders. That's where I wanted to go. I'm a little stupid sometimes. I'm blonde and I'm from New Jersey. It's a bad combination. And it's early in the morning. So hello.
Yeah, I mean, this changes everything. And for the same reason the teams go into a new mode of planning and strategizing, I think players who are trying to get new contracts have to go back to square one and ask themselves, what's our best play here? Or Christian McCaffrey, does he give Matt Rule the middle finger when it's time to sit down at his computer and participate in Zoom video conferences aimed at learning his new playbook? And here's the thing.
I don't think that's important with him, though, as far as Dak Prescott, because he doesn't have to know the audibles, the checks. The running back is just like, hey, run to the right, run to the left. Yes, there's nuances. I'm not trying to simplify it that much, but I don't know if it would scare the coaches in the organization as much as a quarterback is what is my point there.
I just am trying to wonder here what a team's reaction will be if a player says, I'm not going to participate in the at-home learning until you pay me. Some teams may say, are you kidding me? We're doing the best we can to make chicken salad here. You're either part of this team or you're not. And I just feel like the business issues are secondary. So many of the issues that we otherwise would care about in our society, so many of the things that we otherwise would be worried about become secondary to dealing with this pandemic. And I just feel like for a football team that is trying to salvage in some way, shape, or form communication, preparation, and planning for the season, it's just going to be harder for guys to take a stand. It's going to be more delicate for guys to take a stand.
It is.
And I'm going to spend some time today trying to fish around and see what Dak Prescott is planning to do once they realize and once they decide on what the replacement for the offseason program will be. Because, look, here's another example of how the NFL may not be as up to speed as it needs to be, Chris. The programs were supposed to open yesterday. There's no final agreement with the union on what's going to take their place, right? So already they're a day behind where they would have been on the calendar from the standpoint. Now, for phase one, it's simple, basic weight training and cardio. But at some point, we're going to get to the point where they're missing out on the opportunities to learn from the coach. And if it's not going to happen at the facility, it's got to happen another way, and they need to get that all worked out, and everyone needs to be on the same page. And the bottom line is Dak Prescott needs to adjust whatever strategy he had. If he wasn't going to show up for the offseason program at the facility, he needs a new strategy for how he's going to participate or not in these at-home preparation sessions as he continues to try to get his new contract before that July 15 deadline when the window closes on a multi-year deal for franchise-tagged players.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.